Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salsabila and I am from UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta and I am in Department of English Education. So today I want to review a novel. So this is the novel. The title is Death of a Nurse. So this is written by Ed McBain and was published on 1976. This novel tells about death of a nurse who was killed at USS Sykes, that ship owned by Navy US, and the main character of this novel is Claire Cole. So Claire Cole is a nurse who had killed in that ship, and then there is a murderer. So this man is unidentified, so we don't know who is he. And the third, we have Mr. Chuck. Mr. Chuck is a first class officer at that ship. And the fourth, we have Jean Devorak. Jean Devorak is Claire's roommate, and she is a nurse too. There is another characters. There are agent FBI. First is Norton and the second is Dickerson. And we have Captain too. His name is Glenberg. And the last is three suspects murders. The first is Jones. He is a rudderman. The second is Daniel. He is a yeoman. And Scaver. Scaver is a yeoman too. So this story begins at when a group of nurses come to the ship on the Navy Day, so they all had invited to celebrate a Navy Day too. And there is a man who waiting for Claire come. So Claire come with her friends to that ship, and that man asked Claire to join with him to talk about their relationship. I think they have relationship, so they talk in radar shack. So radar shack is a radar room. They meet secretly. No one knows about their meeting there. And that man asked to Claire to want to continue their relationship, but Claire don't want to, because if their relationship continue, Claire's career will be lost. But the man don't want it, because the man had been spent all weekends with Claire together at Wilmington, but Claire still don't want to. After they argue and fight, the man cannot control his temper and emotion, so he choked the Claire until Claire died in radar shack. After the tragedy spread quickly, and there are two agents of FBI. The first is Norton and the second is Dickerson. So this agent asked to Jean Devorak. Jean Devorak say, yeah, Claire ever says to me that she always spend her weekend time at Wilmington, but she never told me with who she go. And after that, Mr. Chuck, as a first class officer, he looking for who is the real murderer. So the radar shack is a room always locked, because only a few people who had the key. Only had the key is radarman and yeoman. And Mr. Chuck is looking for two people who might be knows Claire, because Claire worked at Best Hospital, and many people have treated by Claire. And looking for people too who always spend his weekend at Wilmington. So we have three suspects murder. The first is Jones. He is a radarman. The second is Scaffer. He is a yeoman. And the last is Daniel. He is a yeoman. And Mr. Chuck start to talk with them, first with Jones. Jones don't admit it. Don't admit it that he knows Claire. He says, "I don't know who is Claire, and I never saw her before." And after that, Jones get angry because he didn't receive that. He became a suspect. And then Mr. Chuck talked to Scaffer, and Scaffer admit that he knows Claire because he ever treated by Claire at the base hospital. And Scaffer said that Claire is a friendly woman. And the last, Mr. Chuck asked to Daniel. Daniel is a young man, and Daniel say he knows Claire. And then Mr. Chuck asked a question. Daniel, do you have mind to dating with her? And then Daniel said, no, I never have mind to date with her because Claire is an important person and many connections that she has. So after that, Mr. Chuck always asked three of them day by day, and Scaver say, I think Mr. Chuck is the real murderer because he always asking for us, but Mr. Chuck is not important person to Claire, and Mr. Chuck is not agent of FBI. After that day, the next day, Scaver found was dead. He was beaten by someone and his body thrown to the sea. But it's manipulated well. I don't know why. So people think that is a suicide, but the truth is no. Scaver was killed by someone who killed Claire too. And the agent FBI, Narton, and the captain, Glenburn, agree that Scaver is suicide. So they closed that case officially. But the Dickerson, the agent of FBI, don't agree with it because this is not make sense. How can a great swimmer like Scaver have mind to suicide, jump to the sea? Is not make sense at all. But he cannot do anything, so they officially closed this case. So now we only have Jan Dvorak and Mr. Chuck. Mr. Chuck and Jan Dvorak has a mission to finding out who is the real murderer. So they talk, they meet for a long time, day by day, until they are fell in love and become a couple. So one day they have mission. So Jan asked Jones and Daniels to get that at hotel in Wilmington, and Mr. Chuck spied them and installed a recorded voice there. After date with Daniels, they don't get anything, and finally Daniel is not a person who killed Claire. And with Jones, Jen trying to ask John with many questions that can make Jonas say that he killed Claire and make him admit it until Jones get angry, and John say this softly, yes, I killed her, with psychopath smile. And after hear that, Mr. Chuck go to that room and come to Jan, and Jan say he admits it. He said he killed Claire. And after that, Mr. Chuck beaten and fight with Jones, and Jones had been reported to police. So the killer is Jones. I think this novel is so good. If I am being a writer, I don't want to change anything. I love the story. Because I don't like the joke because many jokes that I don't understand. So I recommend this book. Thank you.